It's intimidation factor. I just don't want you to be able to see the whites of my eyes.
As we go over the words?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to say that it's not working, but I also don't want to lie. So
I can see into your soul with these, Matt.
I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, well, just consider it.
All right, well, own them.
Yeah.
Good luck. I mean, you've got there's a little bit of a frat boy thing going on.
Yeah.
A little bit of a frat boy thing
Little
going on.
big-
And I don't mind.
Little Big
it.
Lebowski too. If I had a bathrobe, we would.
You know
be
what I'm
complete.
feeling? You know what I'm feeling here today though with these sneakers? I'm feeling and these socks. I'm feeling junior year English teacher. What do you think?
I like it. I
What do
can
you
see it
Yeah.
very much
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Hey, what's going on, friends? My name is Matt Murphy, and sometimes I say all the best words.
My name's Cameron Smith, and sometimes I write all the best words.
And today, you're watching all the best words.
I know words. I have the best words.
This is All the Best Words with Matt Murphy and Cameron Smith.
I would like to thank the person that gave me these Tennessee socks. You know who you are. There you go.
Well, I think that people really ought to tune in just for our costume changes. We're really going to lean into this and make it better for you guys. We're not much to look at, but
Theater
our
of
clothes
the
might
mind,
be.
baby.
Yeah.
Theater of the mind. You know, I'll just say this, Cameron. Did you know, fun fact, they tape 5 Wheel of Fortune episodes in one day.
I knew they taped a bunch. I didn't know it was 5.
I think my facts are correct here. Y'all can fact check me on this. Send your cards and letters at Matt Murphy Show on the X machine. But I think it's like 5 in one day. And, so they have to do costume changes. Because it would be weird if they wore the same clothes 5 days in a row.
Well,
Wait, no, what am I thinking? No, I'm thinking back in the day. I've got to correct myself because they don't have repeat winners anymore. Maybe I'm thinking of Jeopardy. Anyway,
I'm
I
just
might
glad
be making all of this up.
you guys should just be glad we're wearing clothes. Like, it's a win.
One of these days we won't be. Anyway, hope you're well.
I'm well.
You guys know the drill by now. If you are regular subscribers to All the Best Words, we thank you. If you are not, please hit the thumbs up button, like, and subscribe us. We are in and out in about 12 to 14 minutes, and we give you some things to think about and talk about at home.
Amen.
Yeah. So I tell you what, Cameron, because I'm intimidated by those sunglasses, you go first.
So taxes. This is my word. It's
Taxes.
We're after
One of
April.
these days we'll have the graphic.
Yes.
Taxes.
But imagine it's in Matt's hands right now. Taxes.
Taxes.
So Republicans have been doing this thing, and by that I mean nothing, in Congress. They've only passed 5 laws, but now they're saying we're going to get some of these things moving. We're excited. And one of the things that Trump had talked about was no tax on tips. And I look at this and I said, well, it sounds good on the campaign trail, but the idea of if you're in a tipped profession, you wouldn't have to pay taxes. And then it's like, well, within a certain income range, you wouldn't have to pay taxes. But my question is, I don't have tips. What if I ask my employer to tip me on a salary of $1? And then the rest of that comes in the form of tips. There's a lot of unintended consequences of a simple sounding idea. And this goes back to the engineering of the tax code. The idea that, well, we pick constituencies that have good lobbyists in Washington, and then we give them things, or we make political promises and we do that. The idea should be, let's just lower taxes. And that means that Washington has to stop spending, which they haven't done. Doge, not Dodge. Dodge is the car. Doge is the cost-cutting thing. This, in spite of their reduction of the federal payroll, our spending has not retreated. We have not had the lights go on and Republicans say, you know what, we really, really, really need to get away from these $1 trillion deficits. And now we're talking about tax cuts. And so I see a real collision course happening here with folks like Rand Paul saying, we have to rein in spending. We've got to retreat. We're talking about tax cuts, but we're not cutting spending. So when you put all these things together, Republicans need to go back to the drawing board and say, if we want low taxes, not only do we have to cut spending, we have to cut so much spending that we get rid of a lot of this deficit, we really pull that back, and we keep the money where it belongs with the American people.
Well, a couple of things to unpack, and I think you're exactly right that if you are serving the master, that is the $37 trillion debt, any tax cut enlarges that debt.
Yes.
Naturally, because if you're taking in less money, you can spend less money servicing the interest on the debt or paying it down, which we're not doing right now. So the same people that actually pay attention to these types of things, a very low percentage of American people that are actually paying attention, more so with DOGE coming along
Sure.
and Trump's second term than have been in the past. You and I have been on top of this subject for years,
Yep.
right? But with more people paying attention to it, those same people are going to get very, very excited about a lowered tax rate, right? Whether
Sure.
it's taxes on tips or whatever. And I say the same thing that you do is that, look, at some point we have to eat our peas. At some point we have to say, okay, I'm fine with my tax burden for now, so long as I believe that the government's actually doing what it gives lip service to do, and that is we're shrinking the size of the deficit first, and then eventually, maybe, just maybe, eating into the astronomical debt, neither of which they're doing right now, because you're right. There's been, some meager executive branch cuts in spending, but for the most part, all of this money that's already been allocated is going to eventually be spent.
Right.
Much of it is tied up in lawsuits, and it takes the budgetary process to actually really see if we can dig down into this and cut a lot of that fat out of the budget. And you're not going to do that as effectively while you're talking about lower tax rates. And, oh, by the way, can I just say, as a personal aside, can we just go to the consumption tax or the fair tax and be done with it? Wouldn't that be a better and more fair way of doing things? I think so. I've been an advocate for a long, long time. Everybody tells me the K Street lobbyist will never allow that to happen, and I understand that it's a heavy lift, but, $37 trillion in debt, that's a heavy lift too.
We have plenty of ways to do this, Matt. And this notion that the lobbyists are in charge, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a political will question. The truth is, we have a simplified tax code within the tax code. Our tax code is so stupid. We calculate tax, and then we calculate it again with something called the alternative minimum tax. Well, the truth is, the alternative minimum tax is just a simplified tax code.
Right.
It already exists.
Let's just go with that. Well, and back to your point that you are picking winners and losers. It was a great promise on the campaign trail. But the problem is when the rubber meets the road, believe it or not, there are a lot of waiters and waitresses in major cities in the United States of America that are making six figures.
Yes.
And so now we're already putting caps and limits on it. Like, well, we're talking about no tax on tips on anything, less than $75,000. And some are saying, well, maybe we should lower that to $50,000. So we're already putting all of these caveats on it. How about just get the tax burden at an equitable rate for everybody and let's move forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Simplify the tax code. Don't play these weird games because you can already hear in their language how complicated this is going to be on the tax form. So, look, my word is taxes. What's your word?
Well, it's interesting because mine is slightly a related subject with regard to tipping. My word is the tip. We're going to call it the tip. The tip. And it's a combination of things. It is an observation about how the world of tipping has changed and perhaps a personal tip from Matt Murphy to you. So I am, and I say this not in a braggadocious way. It's just a fact. I'm a great tipper, right?
Sure.
I worked in the food service industry. I've worked in customer service. I understand that it is a pain in the ass to do so. And I know that some people are awful, right?
Yeah.
And they don't tip. So I try to make up for that, particularly if I find somebody that's maybe looks like they've had a rough day
Sure.
or whatever. I love the idea of tipping, and I'm talking about tipping 30%.
Sure.
And then getting out of there. Or even, and sometimes on a smaller bill, like a $30 or $40 bill, I'll tip, 50%.
Sure.
And then get the heck out of there. Just because I feel like I'm giving them a nice
You've
little
been there.
break.
You know what it's like.
I know what it's like, and I like the idea. I don't want accolades. I don't want to thank you. I just want to make their day a little bit brighter. However, the tipping situation has gotten out of control, Cameron.
It has.
Everybody wants tips now. And I think it's becoming expected that people in what have up until now been traditionally non-tippable roles
Yes.
get tips. So I think I've come up with something. I don't think I'm tipping anymore if I am standing when I make the order.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think it's fair that if I'm ordering food and I'm standing up when I order the food at the point of sale, then I'm not going to tip you on that food. If I'm sitting at a bar area, whatever, I mean, that is all open for debate. But I think if I'm standing, I'm not tipping anymore because we have to draw a line in the sand somewhere. And at some point, the business owners are very smart. And they're going to figure out, wait a minute, they're getting tipped at a 15 or 20% rate now. So my next employee, I'm going to pay them a little bit less, and it's going to be okay because they're going to make it up in the tips. What's up with that? I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either, Matt. And the one that kills me is it used to be 10, 15, 20%, right? Something like that when your display options are there. I've been to places that are like you described, like fast casual dining, where it starts at 20, 25, 30.
What?
Or custom. And I'm like, whoa. What are we talking about here? I'm placing an order, and then I have to have a mechanism for the food to come to me. So these are essential things. If there's no other service,
what am I tipping?
What am I tipping? And, the way I get it, I have teenage kids, so I look at it and say, well, okay, maybe if I'm standing there and ordering, but they bring it to my table and they bust the table, I'll give them 10%, something like that.
Sure.
But when I'm standing there at the point of sale and all they do is hand me the thing and then they want me to
flip that screen, baby.
Right. And they're like, I need to know how cheap you are. And I'm like, no, I don't feel guilty anymore.
Well, I do, and I want to eliminate that guilt out of my life somehow because searching for the no tip, you got to go. I think you have to go to the custom feature to find the no tip button that you can press, and then they turn it back around, and then they know, and then they tell everybody, and then they spit. That's when they spit in your food, Cameron.
I've heard this.
I mean, that's what happens. And I don't know where tipping it lives anymore, right? I mean, it used to be food service, the other services like, there were just expected tipping arenas like a haircut.
Now, next is going to be lawnmower repair. It's
right. Why wouldn't I?
I really sharpened that blade well.
Yeah.
Don't you want to?
Yeah, just let me flip the screen here and you can go ahead and if you want to give it. I mean, why would other industries not do this now if they're conditioning us to pay tips on everything?
And what I really don't like is this idea of tipping through the system, right? If you're a teenager that's working there and I hand you a $5 bill, that's going in your pocket.
I know exactly where that's
I know what's happening. I don't know what's happening here with these screens that are flipping around and stuff. And I've had a lot of people tell me, well, yeah, we don't get all of that. That doesn't go to us. It's divided this way. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm tipping the restaurant? That doesn't seem like a good deal.
And then they're paying out at the end of the night. I don't understand how that works. And while we're on this subject, when I go to a pet store, I don't need to be shamed about giving $1 or $5 to an adopted animal. I don't need to be shamed. Don't you love adopted animals? Don't you love dogs? Why are you even here if you don't love dogs? Why aren't you giving $1? Why are you such a scumbag? Just leave me alone. I'm going to give in my own time. Thank you very much. I guess this works, and it shames a lot of people.
Look, if you play Sarah McLachlan, my wife's going to give you all her money. Just saying.
Oh, my. Hey, by the way, do you guys do the same thing that we do in our household? We pause it. I don't watch them. I can't. No.
It's too much.
You're not doing it. You're not doing it to me. You're not showing me this little in there in a little cage and, oh, look, he's all dirty. Shut up. Get out of here. Pause it. Leave the room. Go make a drink or something. Go grab a snack. Come back later. Fast forward through that thing. I'll give to a charitable organization that is animal related, but I'm not giving to those people because they make me feel bad.
Yeah, emotions. Well,
Yeah.
I guess that's all the words we got today.
I guess those are all the words. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Download us when you can, and we appreciate you. We'll see you next time.